a broken family. We're a teenager where, we're a little unsettled, and, having good parents, is tough. Sometimes you spend weekends with divorced dad, and that feels like it's fun, but then you get sick. That's what America's going through. We're kind of living with divorced dad right now.
Michelle Obama called out this past week over her comparison of the Trump administration to living with your, quote, divorced dad. Our next guest writing an op-ed saying she's perpetuating a stigma.
Joining us now is senior fellow at the Cooney Center, divorced father of two, and author of The New Childhood, Raising Kids to Thrive in a Connected World, Jordan Shapiro. Jordan, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, I'm a divorced dad as well. Yeah. The challenge of weekends or time and traveling and investing in children is real for a lot of people, which makes a comment like this, a lot of people look sideways at it.
Yeah, I think there's this huge stigma around divorced dads, this notion that all divorced dads are bad dads, that just the fact that you got divorced makes you a bad dad. This is something I first noticed when I published my book, where all the reviews were great, and then occasionally I get one that started with, well, he's divorced, so how good a parent could he actually be? What could he know about parenting? And I thought, how does that serve anyone, right? Like, maybe I did screw up, but then don't you want me to be a good dad, right?
Yeah, right.
In the long run, that seems like the goal. So when I heard that Michelle Obama said it, I thought, this is really problematic. We don't want to perpetuate that, and I'm more than I want to victimize the divorced dads. It's more the children, right? It should. You're a divorced dad. I'm a divorced dad. We need to put kids first.
That's where you invest.
This narrative of that we're somehow not going to do that is really not a positive thing for anyone in the culture.
That's a great point.
Also, so many kids out there living in very unconventional families, very different types of families that are loving and supportive and nurturing. You want those kids to feel like they're not being stigmatized just because they may have a situation that's not necessarily like their friends or what used to be, conventionally accepted. I have to get into your book, though.
Okay.
I am a little obsessed with this because I wrote a book, #DoNotDisturb, which was somewhat anti-tech in the sense of tech was being so pervasive in our lives, and you've written The New Childhood, where you talk about how technology, when used properly, can really be healthy and create a healthy dynamic between parents and children. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say is when I say tech can be healthy, it's not like celery juice. I'm not suggesting that there's vitamins.
You should try that, by the way.
Right. I'm not suggesting every time someone uses tech, they're getting positive vitamins. But I am saying that the technology's here to stay. The smartphones are here to stay. The video games are here to stay. The screens are here to stay. And rather than us, we're always asking this question, like, how much exposure is good? How much exposure is bad?
Yeah.
And what I really think is parents need to get involved and make sure we use these powerful, fantastic tools in good ways rather than in bad ways, right? It's only going to become more a part of all of our lives. So as a parent, what I want to do, and what I think all parents and teachers need to do, is go, hey, how do I lean into this with my kids? And how do I make sure that my kids know how to use it in compassionate ways, in ethical ways, in moral ways, in positive ways, all the things, that the values that we want.
Here are a few ways that kids 8 to 16 are using different forms of media. 87% on YouTube, 51% use Facebook, 49% on Instagram, 47% Snapchat. YouTube, let's take that for example. I'm wary of that to allow my 8-year-old to, go. You never know what they'll land on. So it's not about banning the tech, it's knowing what your kids are engaging with.
Does your 8-year-old subscribe to PewDiePie or the T-Series?
I don't know what either of those are.
Ask him, he'll know. It'll give you awesome points, like cool dad.
Well, you're exactly right. I will use that later. But they know how to scroll through everything, find everything. And when I see YouTube, because of the vortex that feels like it's endless, I get worried.
Yeah, and you should be. You should be about all of these things, I think, worried. People often read about my book and they think I'm super positive on screens. I think kids should have screens all the time. No, I'm very worried about it. I'm very worried. I'm not worried about the screen. The screen is neutral. What I'm worried about is that kids aren't learning how to use them in positive ways. Kids aren't learning the right etiquette around them. When my kids were little, I assume when your kids were little also, I took them to the playground. I would run around with them on the jungle gym, or might go down the slide with them. And if they hit a kid, I said, don't hit. And if they didn't share, I said, you have to share. And I constantly intervened in those bad behaviors. When it comes to tech, we tend to, as parents, go, here you go, good luck. And then we're shocked that they don't know how to do it, right? We didn't teach them. You have to teach kids. You have kids. You have to teach them over and over and over. They mess up a lot of times, and every time you have to intervene and say, no, this is the right way. We're not doing that, which means these tools become become dangerous and scary, and we end up in a world where they're not used in the right ways.
But we
Congrats
agreed
on
on
the book.
more than I planned on, so you surprised me.
Congratulations on the book. It's called The New
Really
Childhood.
excited to check it out.
I'm going to check it out. Appreciate it,
good
Jordan.
stuff.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Thanks,
thank
Jordan.
you.
All right.